Hi, hello, and welcome back. I haven't posted a video in a while, and that's one of the things that I'm going to explain in this video, but just so you know what's going on the screen. I recently had a trip to the US, and I filmed this on the kitchen table by the person I was staying at. So that's why the angle is a little weird because I had to balance my phone in a cup on a pile of books to get the proper angle so that you can see what I was doing. I'm using Meiliang watercolors. I had never tried them before, but I did use the Paul Rubens and I love them. If you looked at my earlier videos, you would have seen me use them almost exclusively because those were the only ones I had for a while. The Rubens was better. I was a little disappointed with the Meiliang watercolors. They were okay, but not as good as people were saying they were. I'm using a sketchbook, a watercolor sketchbook that I got at Five Below for $5. And the board that I'm using, there was no desk in the apartment, so I bought one of those painting boards that you can get at Michael's for like $8, and that was what I was using as a makeshift desk, especially when I was sitting on a chair or something. The paintbrushes, except for the one that you're seeing me use right now, that filbert brush, all the rest were from Dollar Tree. So $1 for a pack of 3. That brush was from Michael's, and it's a Royal and Langnickel, and it was pretty cheap as well. The subject actually, I don't know why I chose to do this painting, because it was new supplies in a different area with everything was new. Everything I was using I've never used before. And I didn't even tape down the watercolor paper because I just decided to film it on a whim. I didn't expect it to come out as good as it did. I just wanted to paint and I decided to film it. And I'm really glad that I did because I really like how this painting came out. And I think part of the reason why I liked it so much is because I wasn't trying to make a good painting. I was just painting because I was in the mood to paint and I wanted to paint. And I noticed that my best work tends to come when I'm not trying to make something look good. It comes when I'm just experimenting and having fun. Speaking of which, I actually experimented with another art supply that I will be doing a video on, and I did not expect to like it because everybody who knows me knows I despise that art supply. So if you're curious to find out what that is, stay tuned. So, I was in the US recently, uh, and it was an experience. So, just before I went, and this is going to explain why I haven't been posting much recently, my laptop finally died. So, I didn't have a computer for a few weeks, no, a few months. It wasn't working properly, and then it just wouldn't even turn on for a few weeks. And then Hurricane Beryl hit Jamaica on the 2nd of July 2024. And we were out of power for about 2 months. So I had no power. I couldn't charge my phone except in the car. So we had to keep putting gas in the car, which was expensive so that we can keep some devices charged at home. The only reason we got back electricity was because the government threatened the power company to audit them to find out where the money was going, and that's when they decided to finally show up and reconnect us. And then, even after they reconnected us, we were out of power for most of the day. It still went completely nearly every day for hours and hours. So I kind of just gave up on doing a lot of stuff. I did do a lot of work in my sketchbook, so expect a sketchbook tour 2 actually pretty soon. But so I did keep practicing and working on my novels and my artwork, planning out some stuff that I wanted to do. and other things like that, but I simply couldn't make any videos because I couldn't risk having my phone be completely dead, and I didn't have a computer to edit. So, when I went to the US, one of the first things I did was order a new laptop. The laptop I've been saving for about 2 years now, and that's what I'm editing this video on. It was hard to get it. Amazon messed up a good few times, but I got it eventually. So, more about the trip. Here's the thing, I went to the US with the intention that I was not going to listen to any of the stereotypes. I'm going with an open mind. The US is a different country and stereotypes can be wrong. And I got off the plane in the Fort Lauderdale airport and I walked out after customs, and the first thing I was greeted with were 3 vending machines. One with ice cream, one that had mainly Cheetos and Doritos, and the other one was just full of Coke and energy drinks. There was no water in it. And I just burst out laughing because here I was coming in. I'm not going to believe that America is run on sugar and caffeine like everybody says. And then this was the first thing I saw when I arrived in the US. I wasn't in Florida though, I was just there for a layover because where I was going there was no connecting, there was no direct flight to where I was going. My mistake, by the way. I only found out later that experienced flyers never go to the Fort Lauderdale airport, and I found out why. There was no food. For the entire night, there was no food. And when I asked the lady at the help desk, because I had a 9-hour layover, and I arrived in the evening, and we were going to leave early in the morning. So, after the stores closed, before they reopened. So I asked the lady at the help desk where I can get food. She told me that airports don't have food at night. So I said, well, that's not true because I just came from Jamaica and the Burger King had just opened its night shift. I just bought a burger in Jamaica. And she told me it's because Jamaica is a bigger country than the US and the airport is bigger than the Fort Lauderdale airport. I was so shocked that I had to get her to repeat that sentence again. Which is when she said, you know the Fort Lauderdale airport can fit inside the Jamaica airport? I'm like, no it can't! Jamaica only has 12 gates. 12 gates. The Fort Lauderdale had at least 30, because I came back to Jamaica from like the E28 gate of Terminal 4. So that's not even counting the other 3 terminals. But it was so weird to just hear somebody telling me how massive the airport was, and I'm telling her, no, it's not a big airport. I just came from there, and she's insisting that the airport is big. So, it was late at night, I didn't bother to argue with her. She told me to use Uber Eats, and I told her, don't have Uber Eats in Jamaica. She said, just use Apple Pay. I said, we don't have Apple Pay in Jamaica. She says, well, then you can't get anything to eat until the next morning. It's a good thing I had planned for that though, and bought extra fries to bring with me from the Jamaica airport. Also forgot to mention that I got yelled at on the plane by one of the air hosts because I didn't my drink fast enough. That was a whole thing. I yelled at a lot in the US. I mean, I'm kind of used to it in Jamaica as well, but it's not as bad in Jamaica. In the US, I got yelled at by the air host for not picking my drink fast enough. I got yelled at by a cashier at Dollar Tree because I asked if any of the cashier registers were open to cash out my stuff. I got yelled at by a worker in a supermarket because I asked if the self-checkout kiosk can take cash. And she started shouting about how illiterate I am, can't I read English, and all of that foolishness. So there was that thing. The place I was in was beautiful. Like, I didn't understand before what people meant that autumn makes the trees look like they're on fire. They did. I didn't know trees can look so yellow, except for like koi trees. We have koi trees and stuff in Jamaica and Trinidad, but they were really, really pretty. I took a lot of pictures of trees, but at some point I need to paint a few of them, and I really liked it. We went on some hiking trails and the waterfalls, and they were beautiful as well. Loved it. The internet was much faster than what I'm used to because, again, after the hurricane, we lost internet as well as electricity, and still haven't gotten back the internet, so I don't know when I will be able to post this video. Hopefully soon. We'll see how that works. Oh, another thing. The moon looks really weird. So in Jamaica, the crescent moon, like the quarter moon, it's vertical. So I never really understood the Cheshire cat in Alice in Wonderland turning into the moon, because that never made any sense to me until I was in the US and I realized, oh, from here, the crescent moon is horizontal. It's in a different position. That's why the Cheshire cat smile turns into a moon. That's not what it looks like in Jamaica or Trinidad because we're closer to the equator. So that was another thing that was pretty cool. I did do a little, very little bit of shopping for art supplies. Very, very little. Michael's was a disappointment. A lot of the shelves were empty. They didn't have much variety of anything. The prices were ridiculous. So I didn't really buy much stuff there. I spent more money at Five Below, and the stuff was pretty good. I even got an easel, like an adjustable easel with a drawer and everything, for $5. And I got the sketchbook that you're seeing in the video. That was much better than I expected. Normally I would have to tape down my watercolor paper so they don't warp, and this one, I was drowning it in water at the beginning of the video, and it didn't warp much at all. I have used 100% cotton watercolor paper that have warped more. Oh, another thing I want to mention about the video, while I remember, I didn't actually use any brown in the skin tones. So I am somebody who uses a lot of cool colors in my art, and this is not cool colors. When I said I was experimenting with this drawing, I really was experimenting with nearly everything. I find women hard to draw, I find warm colors hard to use, the materials were brand new to me, so I did not expect this to come out so good. My mother, when I showed her the finished painting, was like, why did you put those blobs of watercolor paint around it? And I told her, well, I didn't expect it to come out good. This was just supposed to be a sketch to test out the supplies. It just came out good. And I realized that I've been having a lot of those kind of breakthroughs in my art recently. It's like things are clicking. After studying and practicing for probably like about 5 years now. I started when I was around 21, 22, somewhere around there. And it's not that I've never made things that I'm proud of, because I have. I've made a lot of things that I'm proud of, but it's like recently it doesn't take as much effort for me to get something that I really, really like. So my acrylic paintings, I've been loving nearly every one that I've done. My watercolor paintings are coming out better. I'm trying out new art supplies, and it's not stressing me. It doesn't feel like I'm fighting the materials, even when I'm using materials that are a bit cheap or I may not like. It's like my hand knows what to do now, and it feels so good. I have been doing so much drawing because it just feels good. I'm enjoying it so much. I've enjoyed it before, but now that I can do it better, I'm enjoying it even better, because this is a color scheme that I would normally never pick. A warm color scheme with reds and yellows and orange, and no brown in the skin tone. just mixing the yellow and the yellow ochre and a kind of orangish red to get the skin tones, adding in purple for the shadows. I remember when I just started art, one of my friends who plays the piano said that playing the piano is only fun after you can play the piano. And I understand now what she meant. Doing art is the best once you can do art. I enjoyed it before, but this past year and these past few months, it's like I've just been having breakthroughs after breakthroughs where I'm even shocked at myself sometimes when I finish a piece and it comes out looking so good. And it's like, did I make that? Because even this painting, you can see right now, the portions are really good, because if you've watched my other videos, you know that I've been doing a lot of practice to get facial proportions right. And look at how well the proportions are. They're not perfect, but they look really good. My use of color, because color theory I think is the hardest art fundamental, and I'm finally feeling like I can understand it better now. Still not really good with color theory, but I am pretty good with values. And I think once now that I've started looking at colors similar to how I would look at values, I've become more experimental with where I put the colors on the paper and how I use them. So I've been throwing in greens in the skin tones and browns in shadows, and it's just been a lot of fun lately. So expect some more videos. I'm working on some others, editing them, getting them ready to publish, and have some other stuff planned, other things I want to talk about. And I hope you stick around and have some fun with me while we get better at art. This picture is almost done being painted. Oh, I should mention quickly before the video finishes, this video is only sped up 2 times. So if you want to see how quickly I've painted this, just slow down the video by half and you'll see it only took me about 29 minutes. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in another one. Later.